I'm Gerry. I'm 72 and I'm your first ever Golden Bachelor. What I hope is that I can look at one of those women and know that I found the right person.
Oh, Gerry.
Oh, Gerry.
Okay, so if you're joining us, spoiler alert, I don't want people to, we're not going to ruin it for people, but we are going to talk about the Women Tell All, which aired last night, which was, didn't you think, Brittany, super fun?
There was so much positivity to it. And that's where I just go, wow, positivity does sell. Like, you don't have to be only bargaining in I hate you kind of vibes. It was very fun.
So you're comparing it to other bachelors?
I'm comparing it to most reality show and TV and news and most radio, like entertainment in general. Take notes that like you can have positivity and it go well. Like it was such a fun, it was so funny. We were just laughing.
It was great. So they had all the women, I'm sure, fly out to the studio with Jesse Palmer, who has grown on me now.
Okay. All right. I still think he's honestly interchangeable with
Steve Patterson?
No, I was gonna say Steve Patterson. Oh, don't even, that's mean to Steve Patterson.
I just feel like Steve could do that job.
I think what's the host name again?
Jesse Palmer.
I think Jesse Palmer is interchangeable with a stop sign.
Oh, I thought he was a little emotional. He shed a tear last night. I thought that was something.
Maybe that's what a host should be, is that like I really don't think about him ever in the history of ever.
All right, fine. Well, he's giving the other people the star shine power. Yeah. All right, so I guess let's just start it out with the women. They looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I was texting with Allie Kaplan from Shop Girls and MSP Magazine and many other things last night, and she's like, the difference the women looked last night at the reunion versus how they looked on camera when they filmed this was significant. And she's like, why don't they give them makeup people?
Yeah, I don't think they got glam in the house at all.
At all, because for example, Kathy, who Lori always says looks like Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
She looked amazing. I'm like, did she have
Kris Jenner. Isn't that the Kris Jenner one with the short hair?
No, that's Susan.
Oh, okay.
Kathy was the one that said zip it.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Zip it. So Catholic, she just looked beautiful. I thought they all looked so gorgeous. And I just thought it was so fun listening to how many people absolutely love this show and how I think ABC is realizing how many people love this show.
Yeah.
And they're doing more press for it. They're doing different things with it. It's a great show.
I think first off, there's two things I have to mention that I think that the Bachelor should be charged as war criminals for. The first one is, how dare they put the scene that we want to see at the end after we had to wait a whole week. Secondly, how dare they put them in the most uncomfortable chairs I've ever seen in my life. I just kept going, why are they not in more comfortable? They look like they were sitting in oversized martini glasses, and how dare they?
Okay, it was for filming. It was for filming.
All
right. So those are two key things. Maybe with each decade they should add a cushion.
I'll work on it.
Please.
I think so.
Contact them today. All right, so let's start it all out. I think it kind of and when you're talking about they left the thing we wanted for last, it was like, who the heck went home? Because as you know, last week's cliffhanger was who got the second rose. Was it Teresa or was it Faith?
Yeah.
We're going to get to that later.
Yeah.
Let's start with Ellen. Let's start with Susan.
Okay.
Susan was the one that we always thought looked like Kris Jenner. She's a taller woman with beautiful white teeth, with shorter dark hair. Life of the party, Susan was just fabulous.
Yes.
So fabulous that they had Kris Jenner do a video and call in.
Not call in. They had a video they sent.
Yeah.
Why didn't they just do a full screen? Why did they do it off his phone? That to me was very interesting. Did they want it to seem very relatable? Like they just sent him that video. Like, why did they do that like that? That was
probably because I don't know. That's a really good question.
But it was really funny to think that like Susan is on Kris Jenner's radar, and she said, "You nailed it, doll. Love the hair." And that was so. Susan looked so happy about it.
She really did. And so her big storyline last night was farting and
having painful gas.
And anyone who knows it happens at the wrong time. You're in the worst situations. Yeah. You're like, what am I going to do? So she was trying to decide if it was the homemade meatballs she made or if it was Edith's, guacamole.
Or the fact that even they're making food is so unlike Bachelor, because normally they just sit there and get Postmates all the time. And the fact that they're like,
know what Postmates is.
it's like getting things sent in. It's DoorDash. But like, it's just wild to me. That's so funny. They're like, now we'll make some food. Like, we're all in a big house. It's like such a woman vibe. Like when I went with you on your to your cabin and everyone was making food, I was like, I love being friends with women. I love being friends with women.
Isn't it fun?
It's the best.
It really is. And so so the guacamole she was eating morning, noon, and night. You know, you can eat it with eggs, you can eat it on toast, you can eat it on a taco, a sandwich. I like the way she rolls.
Yeah, me too.
But what happened is she had such extreme gas from it.
Yeah, she probably doesn't eat guacamole all that much. And like when your body takes in something different. Yeah, and then we went from Susan to Joan, who I actually kind of forgot about.
She was the one that went home early because her daughter had complications with the birth of her child that was just 15 weeks old.
Yeah.
And Joan and Gerry had a massive connection, I thought.
I thought so too, and it broke my heart because then when she revealed that she had to go home because her daughter, she could tell in her daughter's voice and the way she was acting that she was dealing with postpartum depression, which is terrible. Like I had a lot of postpartum anxiety, and I've never went deep into like that depression. It's like you need your family, and she knew her daughter needed her. But what really broke my heart about Joan is she said, yeah, there's so many times I'm driving home and I would imagine him sitting on my porch being like, I need you in my life. And it kind of ripped my heart out.
There were tears there. I mean, I felt for Joan, but I thought she said, I think the overall thing that all these women expressed, which I thought was so great, is that they all have hope now.
Yeah.
This meeting the Bachelor, whether you're going to be with him long term or you got to experience him short term, I feel like it reinstated their passion, their creativity, their confidence. They're realizing, maybe I do miss this. And like a lot of them are widows, and they, had thought, no, I don't want to do anything but I think they all felt like, yeah, this is kind of missing, and that would be fun. And she talked about, I think the person who talked about the most was Ellen, who went close to the end, and the way the camera portrayed her, we were devastated thinking that she is not going to make it past not getting a rose.
Yeah.
And she just talked about her self-esteem, her confidence. She just felt gratitude for being on the show because it made her learn so much more about herself, and that, yeah, I want to do this. I think that was the theme: friendship, love, hope.
I think, I kept writing hope down over and over. Everyone kept saying hope. And I think just getting like a tingle down there. And like when you haven't had
without something,
without thinking about that for a while, like I really love that, Ellen said something. She said, of course it felt like it ripped my heart out. And it was so hard to be faced with disappointment and unhappiness. And she said that first couple days or whatever were really rough. But now she's saying that like, I can't wait to get back out there. Like I am ready to find whatever I thought that was, but like the real version. And I love that. I did cry when we talked about her friend Roberta.
Oh.
And she goes, so her friend Roberta was the one who pushed her into applying for The Bachelor. And she said that she wouldn't have done it if it wasn't Roberta. And she was in stage 3 cancer at the time. And then Roberta kept pushing her for the next thing, do the next thing. And Ellen said, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't for Roberta. So right away when she got out of the limo, she's the one who yelled, Roberta, I'm here. Is this for you? And so when she got back, Roberta was almost comatose. Yeah. And then she was saying that she thought she was holding on to see this episode. She said, we're going to watch the show together just from different places. I was crying.
I think everyone was crying. I think everyone was crying at that moment. And then I thought it was a good, fun thing that they have one of Roberta's daughters in
Courtney,
the audience. And surprising Ellen. Kathy, the one who looked like Caitlyn Jenner that Lori kept saying, and I agree with her. So she looked back because they played that back to her, and she looked back at it and she's like, oh.
I know.
She was just cringing when they were replaying it because she told Teresa, because Teresa was like, oh, he came into my bedroom. Oh, he did this. Oh, he did that. And she's like, why don't you just zip it for a second? We're all dating him too. And she's just cringing in the small camera corner and basically saying, could have been more delicate in hindsight because that doesn't feel like her personality at all.
You know what though? Relatable. I have had
agree.
especially you and I. There's so many times because we are very aggressive people. Me, never. But like if I saw a replay of some of the things I've said to people, what I think are pretty casual, and I go, oh, that's not great. Like the zip it was.
Did I really say that?
Heard around the world.
Right.
At the same time, honestly, it wasn't bad advice. For Teresa needed to hear it, but I think it was really fun to watch them laugh with each other, and you can tell. Especially, I think until we got to Joan and Ellen, it was only like based off of like these people had a blast and a great time.
And I feel like all these women are going to be friends. And the one woman, Sandra, who had the stomach problem, she was absolutely hysterical last night.
Yeah.
And the bloopers. You guys got to watch it. The bloopers about all them farting and having gas. And the best was when Susan's doing this one-on-one moment with Gerry, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I've got a fart," and he just went.
Okay.
It kept going on.
That was Sandra's that was her in the confessional.
Oh my God.
That was the longest fart I ever heard. Justin was like, "What are you watching?" And
my Auntie Catherine did that once, and my mom and I were just peeing our pants because she just went down in like genuine farted, and we're just like, it's still going on. We
are still in it.
It's gonna fall out. All right, when we come back, we're gonna get to who did he pick? Who do we think is gonna end up with the rose? We're talking about the Golden Bachelor, Gerry. This is My Talk 1071. Oh, Gerry. All right, spoiler alert. If you didn't watch last night's episode, this Lori and Julia and Brittany, we're talking from My Talk. We're doing everything Golden Bachelor. Your source of all your Bachelor needs.
All your almost knocking boots, elderly folks. I love it.
Oh, don't call them elderly.
Why is that? That's not a bad one.
I'm telling you. Okay, so we had to wait till the end of the Women Tell All last night to see who Gerry gave the final rose to.
Mm-hmm.
And Gerry is this very genuine man that I truly believe does not want to hurt anyone's feeling. He's heartfelt. He just, I think he was devastated when he was throwing up, really, kind of, because he had to give the last rose between Teresa and Faith.
Yeah.
And I do want to say both you and Lori were right. Lori's not with us today, but she'll be back next week. We're right about this.
Yeah.
It was Teresa.
Yeah. And you know what's so funny is, like, after I watched him and Faith talk.
On the show last night or after the rose?
After the rose.
Because after he gave it to Teresa, he was pretty, both Faith and him didn't, they had just said on the episode, it could have been 3 or 4 days earlier or a week earlier, that they loved each other. And he promised her children that he would protect her.
Yeah.
So when he gives the rose to someone else, and literally, I think breaking Faith's heart.
I think so too.
They didn't really talk. I mean, it was very cold. She went to the car, okay.
What would you say after they don't give you a rose when they say, "Can I walk you out?"
I would say yes, because I think you kind of want to get some closure. If I was the person who didn't get the rose, or you flip them off.
I would probably be like, "Don't ever look at me ever again." Because like me, when I'm done, I'm done. And
right.
You're
probably right, but I'm being.
I like, even if I knew I was being on the camera, I'd literally say, "Don't you dare!" Like, I want to have a breakdown, and I don't want to wait for the car with you. I will go outside and hide in a bush. If you want to follow me, that's on you, but right. I'm not talking to you ever again.
Okay, so Faith didn't get it, and so last night. We still didn't know to the very end that they replayed the scene. It went to Teresa, and so Faith came out in a not beautiful, breasty blue halter dress. Her breasts were just on display.
My sister-in-law kept going, her boobs, and I'm maybe I'm like so used to it, I'm desensitized because of the housewives. I was like, didn't even notice how much they were out.
She looked gorgeous, I thought.
She looked beautiful. Oh, the things she said, though.
She really did say that it blindsided her, that she was shattered.
She wrote gut-wrenching, and then she wrote the first thing she thought was, "Oh my God, my poor family."
And that to me, okay, so that's kind of relatable. So
I know.
When you get a divorce later in life, or whenever it is,
yeah.
or you become a widow, or whatever it is, your family worries about you and think, I hope you find someone that makes you happy. You know, you were so, you know, we liked you as a couple and now you aren't. And I hope you find someone. I mean, I really, that's true.
Yeah.
Although my kids never really said that to me. But I mean, I can see, you know, I wanted that for my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
You know, you really do. But she really, what my heart went out to Faith was because she's been numb for so long. She said 20 years at one point during the broadcast last night, and another time it was 30 years that she's been numb and had this wall up about finding a lover, a friend, having a significant other. I mean,
Yeah.
that made me so sad. And Gerry cried his eyes out. So I was trying to figure out, they were both bawling. They were both bawling when they saw each other.
I wrote, I hate the hug and cry. And then I wrote again, hate. And then I wrote again, hate. Because it lasted so long. And I was tearing up.
So was Jessie.
She called him your safe place, her safe place. And she said 30 years of walls been. And then she said this. She goes, I would have been yours for the rest of your life. And I love that she's acknowledging that he will die first.
Because he is 72 and she's just 60.
I know.
But I think they tapped on something, and this was in a study that we did last week. You know, that there was 45 different people around the world studied, and that men, just basic biology, always go for the physical in a younger woman.
Yeah.
And women, you kind of go for the safety in an older man.
Yeah.
And being safe is one of my biggest things, you know, safe in my car, safe in my financial situation, safe in my house. And I really, that resonated with me because that's just so true.
Yeah.
I felt for her. I hope I'm sure she's going to be fine, but she said, we worked so hard. We worked so hard. We had so much fun together. And then you dump me.
I know. And then, you know, it sucks too, because it's like, Gerry he's not like he's watching these shows. He doesn't know what to say and what not to say. He made a huge mistake last week when he said the I love yous to everybody. I mean, it was like, what are you doing? Because you're going to have to retract it. He told her family, her heart is safe with me. You know, the editors and producers are like, oh, Gerry, give this to us. Right. But it's like, Gerry, you just can't. I know you're getting swept up in it. And he was like, I did genuinely loved you. And I was like, but that's what it is. It's like, it's not real. And it's like, I had to pick one I love the most. It's like, that's not how it works, Gerry. And like, I know he's a good guy. I'm not trying to say he's just terrible human. But I go, you're obviously not somebody who watches reality shows ever.
Right. Well, I guess, you know, he probably told Teresa too, but it was edited out. So let's go here. So here's a couple different people I talked to today said about Gerry and Teresa. Most people I talked to, probably both you and Lori too, still think it's going to be Teresa, right?
Well, I think it's going to be Leslie. I've said on record that it was going to be Leslie, but I have a new theory. But do you want me to wait till the end to say my theory?
Well, we're close to the end, so you can just say it.
Here's my theory. Okay. He's a dating toddler. He hasn't dated in a long time. She was the first one to go on a date with him. And it was the first.
You said, so you think it's going to be Teresa?
Now I kind of feel like it could be Teresa for the fact that she was the first one he went on a date with, and the first one to be like, oh, this is fun. I forgot. Like, you know, I mean, like evoked those emotions early on. And so it felt like maybe that is why it might end up being Teresa. But I'm going to keep my money on Leslie only because everyone's going Teresa. So I'm going to play my odds and say, Leslie, she's my hometown girl. Love her. I want to go to her workout class by her.
No kidding. All right, so here are my picks, and this is a group pick. He's going to pick Teresa. Mm-hmm. My friend went so far as to find out what his sign was because she thought he's got to be a Cancer. He cries so much. Yeah. He's a Leo, and Leos like to be in charge, and he thinks that he's going to pick Teresa. She's super amiable. They both want to make each other happy, and they won't both feel like the type of people that want to make other people happy. She's already retired. She coos around him, you know, and I think that might be what he's used to. And I feel like Leslie would challenge him a little bit more. I feel like Teresa's safer. And for him, she feels a little more fragile, like maybe he's used to maybe taking care of a woman a little bit more and not as independent. So that's just a couple of the things. And I kind of agree with all of it.
Yeah.
She feels fragile.
Yeah, he does. And I would say that she is the safer pick, but like the fact that we might run into Leslie at some grocery store, I am team Leslie all the way.
Well, Leslie's going to be the next Bachelorette. So she's already going.
You don't think it's going to be Ellen?
Oh, you think it'll be Ellen?
No. You don't think it'll be Ellen?
No. Oh, okay. Are we going down to the list?
I don't know. It just felt like
I smelled tuna fish. I know that's.
I do too. I actually thought first I felt burnt toast and got really nervous that I was having a stroke. And then I realized I think it's a tuna fish sandwich. So I'm really glad we had this talk because I had a moment where I like started panicking.
All of a sudden it's like a smell of machine is coming from somewhere.
Don't do it from your crotch. Don't do it from your crotch.
I meant from me.
No, but don't. We're on video. Don't do that.
Okay, we know they're going to fantasies, and
yes.
Leslie asks him, "When's the last time you had sex?" And his face drops. You know. And
I am here for. I don't know what to call it because he's acting like a geriatric sex. I love it. Why is that bad? Why is it bad?
I am the age of some of these people.
Why? You think I don't want to have like?
Well, you're having a geriatric pregnancy.
Thank you.
Pregnant again.
Thank you. I've had a geriatric. I don't think it's a. I'm trying to use a nice term. I hate that everyone's acting like. I was talking to somebody like I can't believe they're doing fantasy suites. I was like, yeah. They're not dead. Like, right. I want to know that they are. Gerry's getting some. What? Am I a monster?
No. I want to know the women are getting some.
Same.
This was another episode of the Golden Bachelor. Thanks for hanging out with us today. You're picking Leslie.
Yeah, I'm picking Leslie. Leslie, if you're out there, you're picking Teresa. You're picking. Everyone's picking Teresa. I'm picking Leslie. Leslie, I'm manifesting you coming on this show.
Well, she's gonna be on. I've already got it all worked out.
I'm working on it too. We're manifesting.
All right, we'll be right back. This is Lori and Julia and Brittany on My Talk.